There is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. It's been the ruin of many poor boys. Lord, I know I'm one. I know I'm one. My mother was a tailor. She sewed my new blue jeans. My father was a gambler down in New Orleans. Drunk in the only time he satisfied is when he's on a drunk. He's on a drunk, on a drunk. Now mothers tell your children not to do what I have done. I'm going back to New Orleans to join the rising sun, the rising sun, the rising sun. There is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. It's been the ruin of many poor boys. Lord, I know I'm one. I know I'm one. Know I'm one. once more to lay me down. With my hand in sparkling clover, let the world go by like clouds are streaming. To lay me down one last time, to lay me down. To lie with you once more, to lie with you. With our dreams close together, let the world roll by like clouds. Lay me down one last time, to lay me down. To lie with you once more, to lie with you with our bodies entwined together. Let the world roll by all lost in dreams. To lay me down one last time, to lay me down, lay, whoa, to lay me down, to lay me down one last time, to lay me down. Traveling to someplace that I got to go, somewhere far away from you, far from anyone that we both know. It's just time to start again, to let go and just get my grip back, back in touch with what's in front, with what's in front of me. I got to pull myself together now. There's someone that I have to be. Hell and back didn't seem like that far, but it was far enough for me. I never will forget the things that at the time didn't even see. Now it's all just as plain as day to me. I will lose myself and find everyone else and try to tie it all together now. To tie it all together, I got to tie it together. Got to tie it together now. Got to tie it together. I got to tie it all together and make the sense of this life and try keeping it together. I feel like we all could be a lot more satisfied with the way we live around each other. People, you know you got to travel sometimes to figure out if you're alright. I see you on the other side. Yeah, yeah, so long, goodbye, I'm gone. I just got to move on. I got to keep on traveling. Oh, I see you on the other side. Yeah, yeah, so long, goodbye, I'm gone, baby. I just got to keep on traveling. I see you on the other side. I see you on the other side. Oh, so long, goodbye, I'm gone, baby. I just got to move on. I got to keep on traveling. I got to keep on traveling. Traveling. There's someplace that I got to go, somewhere far away from you, far from anyone that we both know. It's just time to start again, to let go and just get my grip back, in touch with what's in front of me, with what's in front of me. Got to pull myself together now. There's someone that I have to be. Oh yeah, hell and back didn't seem like that far, but it was far enough for me. I never will forget the things that at the time I didn't even see. Oh, now it's all as plain as day to me. I will lose myself and find everyone else. Oh, I want to tie it all together and make sense. Tie it all together and make tie it together. Tie it together. I got to tie it all together. Got to tie it all together and make sense of this life and try keeping it together. Yes, I feel like we all could be a lot more satisfied with the way we live around each other. People, you know, you got to travel sometimes to figure out if you're alright. I'll see you on the other side. So long, goodbye, I'm gone, baby. I just got to keep on traveling on. Shit. That's it. Wonder what it takes to take me down. I've been taking everything I found. likes to take me down. I've been taking everything I found. Wonder why my face is still in place while my head has been spinning around. Well, it feels like yesterday I was feeling well, and it feels like it could be any fucking day, and the feeling is well on its way. Wonder why I'm chasing what is dragging me away. Guess it's just the foolish part that I have to play. Wonder why I'm facing so much hatred from this place that is claiming to be sacred while they're lying to my face. And it feels like yesterday I was feeling well. Well, it feels like it could be any day. How the feeling is well on its way. I said the feeling is well on its way. Wonder why I'm chasing what is dragging me away. Guess it's just the foolish part that I have to play. Wonder why I'm chasing what's dragging me away. Guess it's just the foolish part that I have to play. Wonder why my face is still in place while my head's been spinning around. And it feels like yesterday I was feeling well, and it feels like it could be any day. The feeling is well on its way. The feeling is well on its way. Wonder why I'm chasing what is dragging me away. I guess it's just the foolish part that I have to play. Wonder why I'm facing so much hatred from this place that is claiming to be sacred while they're lying to my face. Wonder why my face is still in place while my head has been spinning around. While my head has been spinning around. Spinning, spinning, spinning till it spins off its shoulders and rolls it off to the ground. There's somebody in here? Scott, what's good, buddy? How you doing? Right on. I didn't go to heaven, heaven came to me. I didn't come around, I just came to be. I didn't write this song wrote me. And it tells you how I am, who I am. Who am I? Got no got no reason to believe. 8,000 miles below the ground, people are living their lives and they're upside down. Seeing is believing. If it's something I ain't seeing, then I got no reason to believe it at all. I got no reason to believe that we be living on the outside of a ball. Well, I've been wondering why. YouTube has been pissing me off. Earlier, YouTube was in my head too. I was like staring at this little Buddha head that I have over here, and then I turned on YouTube and it was a video. It was just showing me a short of just like a bunch of Buddha heads. It was right what I was thinking about, right what I was looking at, right when I turned it on. I was like, what the fuck? It was so like on point that it just kind of startled me. I'm like, what the hell? How is this happening? It's like it was, because I was looking at this Buddha head over here. I'll show you. It's the one that's on my thumbnail. I was looking at it and I was like staring at it thinking, oh, maybe I'll use that for my thumbnail. And then I turned on YouTube and it was showing me a short of a bunch of Buddha heads like this. It was different like AI rendered drawings of Buddha heads or whatever. Like, what the hell? It was a little too coincidental. And as we know, coincidence is just short for cognitive dissonance. That's what we know. Science has shown that what you're experiencing when you say something's a coincidence is you're just experiencing cognitive dissonance. Cognitive coincidence. Cognitive dissonance. So what's up with you guys?
How's the light work? Dude, they only run like 50 to 80
You
miles
sleep
per hour.
already?
Like, dude, I can backpedal that quick.
How do you fall asleep to such loud TV? I had some notes here. It's probably mostly gibberish. I was thinking I want to learn more about the Venus transit, you know, where there've been like occasions where they say that Venus is transiting. Sorry, I'm gonna grab my bomb. Transiting sun. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, what I believe as far as, you know, space and all that shit's concerned, but it's like, but what exactly is going on? I mean, they've got it synced up to where they believe that it's, you know, the star that we call Venus that's actually going across the sun during the day. And, you know, I think it's been documented at least once, like videotaped and, you know, carefully, you know, scientifically. We don't know if it's what Venus is. We just know that it's a light in the sky, and it was allegedly the timing of it, they knew that it was that specific star that was transiting the sun. And I've seen the footage of it. It's like a little, you know, it's just like a little black dot moving across the sun, you know. But it's moving at the same speed that stars, you know, move across the sky. And if it, whatever, you know, they got it all scientifically, all mathematically, all figured out to where they're, you know, obviously they claim that it's a planet orbiting the sun, but all we really are working with here is an observation of a little black dot moving across the face of the sun during the day. But I've just been thinking about that. It's like, well, it's like the only time that we've seen a star during the day that's like, the reason we're seeing it is because it's moving in front of the sun. And just with that thought in mind, it really got me tripping on like what the stars are doing during the day. Like, because, you know, like when you travel high up enough in the sky during the day, you know, you leave behind the blue. Like, you get above it. You know, we've seen rocket launches, you know, like amateur rocket launches where they get above the blue. I don't know what elevation that is where you like leave the blue sky behind. You're no longer looking at blue above you. It's blackness of space, or whatever, the blackness of the ceiling, the blackness, the mystery, the firmament, whatever it is up there. But so what I'm saying is like the stars, for them to be doing anything. I mean, I guess, well, obviously the sun is above the blue sky. All this stuff is above the blue sky, the moon and everything. But we see it in we see the blue sky as a backdrop to the moon and the sun, but they're not in the blue sky. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you see blue sky, what looks like blue sky behind the moon or behind the sun, But it's not, those two things are not sitting in the blue sky. They're above it. It's just that we can't see beyond the blue sky. Isn't that weird? It's like gases that are illuminated somehow or excited somehow, but it's really weird because like once you see the footage of like the rockets going beyond the blue sky and into the the area where there's no longer blue sky, it's like you're looking down. Here's what trips me out is that like we can't see the stars and the whatever blackness of the sky beyond the blue sky during the day. Obviously we can't always see is blue sky when we look up, so there's like it's like opaque or whatever. It's like it's blocking our view of something, the blue sky is. But like we've seen these footage of rockets that get up above the blue sky, where they leave the blue sky behind. And when looking back down on Earth, though, you can still see stuff. Like we're looking through the blue sky from that angle, and you can see stuff. Is it just because? Why is that actually? Because I mean, if the blue sky is like opaque for us on this angle, from this angle, looking up at it, why can it be seen through when you're looking down through it? Or am I tripping? Or is anybody listening to me? But it just, the idea of the transit of Venus, across the sun, really got my mind working. Because, I mean, I guess that's pretty much the only proof we have of something actually orbiting the sun. I don't even say that's proof necessarily. It's just proof that something has moved in front of the sun. Other than, like, we think the moon is what's causing it to be eclipsed. I mean, it may or not be true, but for it to be like a little star, and the star called Venus is transiting the sun during the day, that's pretty interesting. I mean, what are the rest of the stars doing during the day? I know the wandering stars are probably closer to us than the all the generic stars. Like in the Smurfs, there's like 100, like, just no name Smurfs. They don't have any names. They're just all like plain old Smurfs. Then they have like a select few, like a dozen Smurfs that have names. They're like the famous Smurfs, like Handy Smurf and Papa Smurf and Lazy Smurf and, Jokey Smurf or whatever. And so it's like, the stars are kind of like Smurfs, there's like a bunch of wandering stars. There's like, however many, like 9 or 8 or whatever, 7 or 8. And then there's all these others, no name, well, they have names, I guess, but they've been sort of cataloged to the best of their ability. But there's like the backdrop of stars that all move together. And they're, so the wandering stars are the ones that I think are closer. It's just weird because you would think that some acknowledgement of the fact that, like, we don't have any, there's no, well, what's it called, when something's moving, you get this, not stereo, it's parallax. During, like, if you just do a time lapse of the night sky moving across the sky, all the stars that are moving, they're all trailing at the same speed, and there's no parallax between them, which pretty much just tells you flat out that the stars are all about the same distance away from us. I mean, that's what you'd be led to believe in any other instance where you're looking at parallax, something, some things moving in the distance, and they're all, as either it's you traveling or that stuff that's traveling by your field of vision, and it's like, whatever it is that's moving across your field of vision, if it's several objects and they're all moving at the same speed across your field of vision, then they're all at the same distance from you. That's like an understood, intuitive piece of factual information. But when we're looking in the sky at night at the stars and do a time lapse of the stars as they go over you, they're all moving at the same speed. So if we're just going to stay consistent with that logic of parallax, we're going to have to say, well, the stars are all about the same distance away from us. And, which totally flies in the face of conventional cosmology right of today, which is obviously just a crock of shit. I mean, if you can't acknowledge something that basic, and then they have this whole thing of stellar parallax where they like take note of the star's position over the course of 6 months and they compare. No, it's not. It's like you don't witness that. I mean, we're talking about like parallax, like normal. You see, they muddy the waters with shit like that. And it's like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? The stellar parallax over the course of 6 months? No, we're talking about just in the course of one night. When the stars move overhead, you can see them traveling across the sky. That's where you would be able to witness parallax. If they were all at different distances away from us, like they say they are, then they'd be moving at different speeds. And I haven't heard anybody really debunk that. I mean, I've seen several times people will deflect from that conversation by mentioning stellar parallax as though that has something to do with what I'm talking about, but it really doesn't. We know the stars are in different positions as 6 months from now. I mean, it's a totally different subject. It's not even parallax. But regardless, the fact that there's no parallax, is a real major problem for the globe model. And it never really gets brought up or never gets emphasized or mentioned. Hey, Forever Love, nice to see you. Snyder, good to see you guys. Right on. Cool. But I always thought that was kind of like one of those glaring, like, blemishes in their whole fucking storyline. I was like, well, this never gets brought up, but it's such a big problem for the globe model because those stars are supposed to all be like varying like distance of like trillions of miles, and it's like for them all to be trailing across the sky at the same exact speed. That is a totally different situation than we're talking about. You can't explain that away with any. I can't think of any way of explaining that in the context of the heliocentric model. There's no way to explain that. I mean, I guess you could. There's nothing you can't lean on refraction or gravity. None of your normal like fucking go-to like ways of like trying to fucking patch up your holes in your model. It's usually this gravity or fucking refraction is one of the two. Usually it's like, oh, we see too far. Oh, it's because of refraction, or like. Like how come our air doesn't get sucked into the vacuum of space? Oh, it's because of gravity. There's no vacuum. There's no negative pressure anywhere. That's not what nature does. It's not possible. I guess I shouldn't say things like that. I mean, maybe there is. But just because the air thins out where we can't breathe, there's not oxygen, so it's not like an environment fit for our life. It doesn't mean it's a vacuum. There's other gases up there. It's just not oxygen, the gases that we need to breathe. It's not devoid. I mean, I guess the pressure is less. There's less pressure up there. But that doesn't mean that there's like a vacuum there. I guess what they would argue that they don't claim it's a vacuum. They say it's a near vacuum. Like the moon is a near vacuum, according to them. I don't think you can go land on the moon. I think that's just, it's like their opinion. I mean, obviously the moon landings were like it's like mankind's biggest embarrassment. It's so fake. And it gets faker with time, that's like, it's getting faker every day, basically. Same with the ISS, just faker every day. That'd be a good name for a channel. Kind of like smarter every day, but faker every day. Talk about fucking NASA. Faker every day. Now they're just a spy agency. They're not now a spy agency, NASA. It turns out it was never really about space. It was just about spying. And they're not spying on space. No, they're spying on us, on Earth. So it was never really about space at all. It was about spying. Those little fucking stinker butts. How dare they trick us like that? It's now a spy agency, NASA. They're no longer space grifting. That was a handy, convenient little move to make, because now they don't even have to talk about how they're planning to go anywhere. They're just spying on us. I think they still have the Artemis program. Artemis. They're like, we need to get beyond this spot of space with a deadly radiation. It'll destroy all our, technology, and it'll kill the people inside. It's too much exposure to radiation. It'll destroy the computers on board, and it'll fucking wreck everything and kill everybody. And it's like, well, you guys went through that once, like 6 times before, and like there and back, so like 12 times. Nobody died from it, and it was all good. None of the fucking technology stopped working, dude. It was all good. It's because they hadn't discovered the Van Allen radiation belts yet, so that's why they were able to get through them with it. Because see, it's like ignorance is bliss, If only they just didn't learn about it, then it would be easier. They could just go do it like they did before. Like, we just went right on through them. Yep. You sure did, buddy. Way to wing it, dude. Like, just patch up your story as you go. Oh, we just went right on through them. You did. Okay. I wasn't going to the moon, sitting on your ass for fucking 3 days straight in a little tin can with 2 other dudes. You left the fucking precious atmosphere behind. Goodbye, Earth. Goodbye, blue ball. Traveled hundreds of thousands of miles away from the atmosphere, with your life support being like some janky 1960s NASA technology. That's how it's like your life support. You're 250,000 miles away from your atmosphere. It's a little bit sketchy, dude. I think you'd feel a little more nervous in a situation like that. But now they're all totally comfortable and cozy and laughing and having a good old time. It wasn't until they got back and were up in front of the press having to answer a few questions, that's when they got nervous and scared. The bravest men on Earth. Not so much. They should have just stayed on the moon where they were all happy and having fun. They weren't very happy when they got back to Earth. They're like, oh, this is scary. I'm scared. I'm nervous. Dude, you guys just went to the moon. What do you guys got to be worried about? You should be celebrating. You never know. There's probably more to the story. Like maybe they hit a dog on the way to the fucking interview or something. Or maybe they're lying. Maybe they're full of shit. Maybe they're full of dog shit. So what do you think about the moon landings, Buzz? Tell us something about the moon landings. And Buzz is like, well, we didn't go, for the money or anything, it's just for science. It's like, what was the scariest part of it for you? The scariest part? Well, nothing. I mean, it didn't happen. Didn't happen. We didn't get scared. He just sort of like teases you with it, I saw you guys landing on the... No, you didn't see us on... You saw an animation. Oh, well, it looked like real footage. No. It wasn't real. There was no one there to film us. Oh. It's like one of these days he's just going to leave it hanging. Like, we didn't go. And then he's not going to give you any follow-up. Like, we just didn't fucking go. Instead of trying to patch it up all clever and fucking dropping hints. NASA, they are liars. Liars. The more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get, though. It looks low budget, but it's not. They're hair-sprayed hairdos. That shit's not going to age well, either. I mean, it never set right. The hairspray has got to go. Like Mark Sargent makes a good point, though. It's like a risk they didn't need to take. They could have just said all people that goes on the ISS have to shave their head. you know, for safety reasons. We don't want hair clogging up the air, you know, the life support. How do they keep air flowing on that thing constantly? Like, what is? I still haven't seen a good presentation on what their air machine is. Their Acme air machine at the press of a button. How do they get their fresh air? I mean, what do you need to make air? You just need water and like, what are the ingredients? You need like some water and what do they use to make air? I feel like I should know this. I mean, so how do they do it? You guys know? What's the air machine? Because they got air to spare, man. They went all the way to the moon and back. They didn't run out of air. They had to repressurize a bunch of times because they had to get out and go in the limb and go down to the moon and walk around on the moon. And they had to repressurize like 5 times or something. So they're just letting air fly all out into the vacuum and just not even tripping, you know. Testing their spacesuits for the first time in the environment that they're in. Because we can't recreate the environment the moon is supposed to be on Earth, so there's no way in hell they could have tested those spacesuits in a situation like what they were going to be in. So they were testing them for the first time on the moon on live TV. Yeah, that's believable. Their fancy spacesuits that fucking defy physics, and they still haven't really shown us exactly how they work. Because they don't. I mean, if you could make a suit to withstand the temperatures that they claim those suits withstand, I mean, you could be selling those here on Earth. I mean, there's people that would use those, like divers, like fucking. There's people that would use those suits if they could make them, but they don't. They can't because they're fake. I mean, think about it. There's some situations where there's temperatures that are way too hot for people to be able to function and do work in, you know. But if you were wearing one of them suits, you know, because the temperatures on the moon range from 240 negative to, you know, below zero, and 240 Fahrenheit. That's like water boils at like half that. I mean, we're talking some fucking serious heat, you know. And if you can make a suit to withstand that kind of heat, like you could repurpose that here on Earth in a lot of situations, and it'd be a very valuable resource. But like they don't, it's not a thing because it's fake. A pressurized suit. I mean, you'd have to be constantly. I mean, how? Because you're breathing the air that's in there, right? So it's turning to CO2 pretty, you know, carbon, you know, dioxide. It turns into carbon dioxide after you breathe it out. So you have to be introducing new air all the time. So you're going to have to be releasing air constantly from the suit. I mean, I'm just thinking about the logistics of it. So how? I mean, so there's a valve that's opening, and there's got to be some opening out into the vacuum of space to release the carbon dioxide, you know, what you breathe out. Because you have to introduce oxygen, you know, constantly because you're breathing out carbon dioxide and you know, you would run out of oxygen to breathe, and so you'd have to keep introducing oxygen, and for that matter, you're gonna have to vent out the air that you've already breathed constantly. I mean, unless I'm not understanding it correctly, but there'd have to be like a vent on the spacesuit, which seems to me to be kind of sketchy because we're talking like a near vacuum. I mean, how exactly does that affect like a pressurized suit that's got a vent, an opening on it? I would think that the vacuum would be, you know, the near vacuum. I would think it would pull everything out of the spacesuit if there was a vent. I mean, how are they making that work? I want to know the you know, the mechanics of the fucking, you know, just the engineering that went into that. Because I mean, maybe I'm not understanding it correctly. What do you guys think? Oh, it's all good, man. I don't care. I mean, I'm glad to have you, but I don't take it personally if nobody shows up. Nice to see you, though, man. Nice to see you. But, like, I would like to, because this thing is, I think it's like the devil's in the details with these kind of lies, you know, with space and space travel. It's like, you could just yank on one thread and start unraveling it, you know. It's like, okay, well, how does a spacesuit work? Let's fucking just, I want to know every little detail about it that's available. And you realize, you know, that there is not that many details. There are some details, but it's not explained well enough. I mean, you never see any demonstrations of them in a vacuum that's supposedly like the vacuum of the moon, the near vacuum they call it. And, you know, the only times they've tried to test a spacesuit in a vacuum chamber, the dude almost died. His tongue started to boil and some shit, you know. It's not something you fuck around in a fucking vacuum chamber. No, people don't. Nobody's gonna get inside a vacuum chamber willingly, especially after that happened. But you want to test your spacesuit before you get out in the environment. That you want to test it in an environment that's somewhat close to what you're going to be going to. So it's just interesting how nobody ever did that. I mean, it's just revealing. Nobody could have ever flown the limb, you know, in any other situation here on Earth, because I mean, it's a near vacuum situation. It's a completely different environment, so nobody could have ever test driven the limb, you know, in the environment they were going to be flying in. It was just like, it was all just, they were winging it off the cuff right when they got there. They did it with flying colors. Then they had to launch. I like the whole point someone was making about how they were communicating with Nixon here on Earth from the moon. Now we were sending the signal from Earth. You know, they had all these, the infrastructure here on Earth is massive. You know, the antennas and the transmitters, and it's like, you know, the best money can buy, and it's big dollar shit, and it's huge. These towers are fucking massive. You know, so it's understandable that they could get this president's signal out to the moon, I guess. You know, technically, maybe it'd be possible, but then for them to send the signal back, I mean, they're just out there in their little rinky-dink fucking tinfoil spaceship, you know, and their little fucking umbrella fucking satellite dish. I get the impression that they don't have the equipment that compares to what we have here on Earth to transmit a signal to the moon. On the moon, all they had was a rinky-dink little umbrella, you know. They didn't have shit. So how are they transmitting their signal back to Earth? I don't remember hearing anything about that. Well, we can bounce a laser off the moon. Yeah, well, but how are you bouncing, how are you fucking transmitting the astronauts' fucking signal back to Earth without, like, all the same gear that you're using here on Earth to transmit the signal to the moon? If you didn't need all this fancy gear they have here on Earth, then they should have just had the umbrella here on Earth, and it just would have worked fine. But oh, when you're in space, well, then your stuff just travels really far without any effort, and whatever. Shut up. It's all these like special pleading. This fucking like, oh, well, it's opposition surge on the moon. It's like when you're taking pictures on the moon. It's like this terminology that's only relevant if you're taking pictures on the moon. You have this opposition surge where you can see things that are in the shade really easily because of opposition surge. Kind of like when, I don't know. It always reminds me of pancaking. It's like when someone flies a plane into a building and the building just collapses into its footprint. It's called pancaking, you know, because it just pancakes all the way down. It's pancaking. It's something that happens. It's a real phenomenon whenever somebody flies a plane into a building. Mm-hmm. It can happen even without a plane, actually. It's sympathetic pancaking. I've seen sympathetic pancaking on 9/11. Here's another good band name, Sympathetic Pancaking. It's kind of a lot of syllables, but good work. All right. I guess I should get to bed. Yeah, it's like the terminology that's like only, it's only like relevant in a situation that's like, you know, that's a hoax. You only see opposition surge. You know, that's only a thing that's like in moon photography. It's only a thing if you're going to be taking pictures on the moon. And like, you know, pancaking is something that happens to buildings when, you know, terrorists fly jets into them and it burns for like 45 minutes or something. And then it can just pancake all of a sudden. But like, pancaking doesn't accurately describe what happened. I would call it like, it's more like you know how like Judy would do the Alka-Seltzer thing. She have it compared. She had the piece of Alka-Seltzer dropping through the water, and it's like disintegrating it. Like, you know, it's a solid piece of, you know, Alka-Seltzer tablet, and it's falling through the water. But the solid part never touches the bottom because it's disintegrated completely by the time it hits the bottom of the glass. And she shows it in comparison next to the like building 7 that's collapsing, but it's what's happening. It's not really pancaking so much as it's just turning to dust. And you can see like pieces of it, like solid matter, like pieces of metal or whatever, pieces of the building that have fallen off, like little sticks or whatever that are like coming off, like pieces of the building or whatever. And she shows it in slow motion right next to this other video of the Alka-Seltzer disintegrating, and she shows us, you know, oh, look, it's the thing is doing the Alka-Seltzer, like it's like you can see it falling, and it's in slow motion, and it's just turning to dust as it's falling. And it looks just like the Alka-Seltzer tablet, you know, it's just like disintegrating, and it doesn't. There's nothing that. By the time it would have hit the ground, there's nothing there to hit the ground. You know, it's been turned to dust. So it's more like, you know, it's not really like pancaking so much as it is like, you know, I don't know, what kind of food would that be like? I can't think of something. It's dust. It's like pureed pancakes. Pureed pancakes. That's weird. Power gets corralled and carefully used, diffused and conducted, rerouted and no. Power gets corralled and carefully used, diffused and conducted, rerouted to a cloud, and the powers that be who covet all power and claim it eventually won't be able to contain it or use it to control us because too much power in one place blows up. And the top dog becomes the underdog in the blink of an all-seeing eye. Yes, sir. Under the rug, there's a growing bump of crud that's becoming an obstacle that will eventually need to be addressed. Sweep it under the rug, right? Shrug it off and shrink into the shrubs, shaken but not stirred up. Shrinking into the shrubs. I've been shrinking. There's a bucket in a hole, dear Liza, there's a bucket in a hole. I love it. This kid drew some pictures in this book that I write in. Am I muted? How long was I muted for? You guys don't care. You're not even listening to me, huh? Did you tell me I was muted? Must not have been that long. Ah! Testification! Ah! It's a 9/11 jumper. Yes, yes, best comment. That's great. 9/11 jumper. I like Brian Stabley's theory about all that because of those Jewish art students that were in the top floor or whatever prior to the 9/11 incident. And there was videos of them filming themselves standing out on this ledge and having helicopters would fly over them and film them waving stuff around and doing. It's like they were using that footage to create the falling people images. That's what those guys were doing. That's what their art project was. They were you know they're gathering footage of people outside of the World Trade Center looking like they were falling, and then using it as footage later, as you know, they were doctoring it and making it look like people were falling out of the building. I mean, talk about a fucking production. I mean, what else would those guys been doing up there? And like fucking, because they had like taken out windows and they made like a little platform that came out of the building, and you could see the footage of them doing this, where they're like waving like a towel around or like the clothing, and they were like doing all kinds of weird maneuvers, and it's like you wouldn't know what they were doing. You just think they were being weird and artsy or something as a helicopter flew over and videotaped them. Come on, there's more to the story. It wasn't art, dude. They were trying to fucking get ready for what was going to happen. Taking footage of themselves outside of the building, the building in the backdrop, and then, them looking like they were falling, kind of, where they were like, because they were waving their clothes around, kind of like making these, they were making footage that they could use to doctor up and make it look like there were people falling out of the buildings. That's what they were doing. That's what their art project was. I'm sure they had plenty of other stuff they were doing in there. They had access to the fucking support beams in there. They could have been, I mean, there was so much shit those people could have been doing. I mean, Israel just has like fucking, they got the key to the country, they can do whatever the fuck they want. And on one hand, I think sometimes it would be sort of convenient for the big America to have it look like they're being controlled by Israel as they're going, instead of us going and like taking over the Middle East. I mean, we have this country, Israel, that's going about doing it while making it look like Israel's running our politics, and so we're just like, oh, we're just beholden to Israel, like we can't help it. But it's like, it's our money and our efforts, really what it boils down to, that's going towards trying to conquer the Middle East, or like at least get a solid foothold in, and like take over as much as possible, with the excuse of it being like the Holy Land or whatever, fucking Jew land. But it's more like, it's not spiritual, really. I mean, maybe on some satanic level, but it's like, it's more about greed and just like, and for it to be like, we're just being controlled by Israel. I mean, that seems kind of, whatever. I mean, it's probably true in some ways, but I was also thinking about it. It's like, it's kind of convenient to have it look like we're being run by Israel, because people over there already hate Israel. And so they're like, oh, well, yeah, Israel's manipulating the United States too, and blah, blah, blah. Instead of it seemed like Israel is the United States' fucking, arm, and they're over here like doing what the United States wants it to do, and like taking over the Middle East, and then hating us for that reason. But instead, it's more like it's Israel doing it, and Israel's also fucking with the United States, and it's sort of like this weird, convenient sort of image being, like this idea that Israel is the one that's responsible for its dastardly deeds in the Middle East, where it's more really, it's like the United States, and just the Rothschilds and the fucking, and just the whatever, the great, all the fucking grabblers and Zionists. To what end? I mean, I really don't know. It's like it seems like they want to take over, that area there or whatever, and it's not even legit as far as what their whole cause is. And just to be, I mean, for what it's worth, it's like to claim that you're God's chosen people is like an inherently racist slogan to be thrown around. So you don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to like telling people that they're being racist. Your whole fucking slogan is racist. Okay, this light's pissing me off.
Cold weather now. I have bad stories
Make
about
the bed.
hot, and I have bad stories about the cold.
Me too. Love you too. Oh, we're out of smokes. We gotta figure out how to get some money tomorrow.
10 degrees Fahrenheit.
Must.
I love fruit, so I ordered bananas on Amazon. I was like, oh, I love bananas so much. Who doesn't like bananas?
Bananas give you radiation. They have small amounts of radiation.
Bananas don't give you radiation. What's he talking about? Bananas give you radiation. What?
On my phone, and it said in the mailbox. Now it was 10 degrees outside.
Bananas have THC in their peel. That's weird.
Who orders bananas? Why don't you just go to the store and buy bananas? Amazon bananas? Yeah.
Amazon bananas? The fuck?
And then I went back to my room. I was like, okay, let me open these bad boys up. Because, I'm craving potassium. And now, like, okay, before I opened them, I actually rattled the box a little bit to see if they're in there. And it was just like, ching, ching, like, whoa.
Just a second.
That's crazy.
Why are they sounding like that noise? I opened the box, pulled out the bananas, and I said to
What do you guys said?
I said, they're black.
Tony's chocolate.
The bananas were black because they were frozen solid.
Mm,
And they
so
were
good.
black because like the cold. Is that frozen bananas? They were black. I was like, dang. And they were rock solid. You eat them. I actually took a bite and it tasted disgusting.
Seriously.
This is why you hate the cold weather. No. Yeah.
Hi there. We're Tony's Chocoloonie. We exist to end exploitation in coca. Not just the cocoa in our chocolate, but in all chocolate worldwide. The more people join us and share our story, the sooner we'll change the industry, ending forced labor, child labor, and deforestation in cocoa. The choice is yours. Are you in? Fuck yeah. I'm down, Tony. What a good cause. Hopefully they're serious about it. I'd say they probably are. Some of my homegrown weed. Let me grab a bong hit. Turned out pretty good this year. I don't know. I probably ended up with about a pound. Is that what you're saying? Makes sense. The Jews jumping out the windows and shit. "9/11 is still just such a head fuck. I mean, to just drop all those buildings like that in the middle of the day, like fucking, wow, that's huge. Make it seem like we're under attack. I mean, that was the beginning of the end. Like, I don't know how anybody could believe anything the media says, or politicians for that matter. Like, people just have such short-term memory. It's like, how could you trust a government that fucking told us all the lies that involved us? And then, on top of that, we've had COVID. Now, fucking the Charlie Kirk debacle is just like the fucking icing on the cake. I mean, that story is so fucking retarded. And just the complete lack of fucking any sort of coherent. There was no protocol. I mean, there was a murder we watched take place, and they just kind of swooped the dude into an SUV and fucking cleaned up the crime scene and bounced. There was no no police tape put up, no investigation, you know, and like, dude, we knew more about the killer, you know, and his fucking love affair before we even knew, like, what, you know, whether or not there was a bullet in his neck. Like, it's the whole story is fucking bullshit, in my opinion. I don't even think he died. Like, it's either he's still alive, or if in the case where he's dead, like, that wasn't him dying right there. That was something else. I don't know. I mean, that didn't, I don't know. I fucking think what we were looking at was like some CGI fucking bullshit. I can't trust the TV anymore, dude. Why am I going to say that I know? I just saw it on TV. It's all anybody saw. I'd like to talk to somebody that was at school that day, you know, and see what they're, there's got to be some people that are online that were talking about how they were at school that day and they didn't go see the event, but they can vouch for the fact that it was happening, and or just, you know, maybe in the case where it's like they can vouch that school was closed that day and nobody could go to school that day or something. You know, I'd like to hear some other some other people's information about what was going on that day down there, because, or perhaps, you know, there was school that day and that wasn't happening there that day. You know, it's they filmed it some other time or something. You know, I just want to know more details about, like, you know, boots on the ground, like, that were happening that day. And does anybody know any channel where there's somebody that was actually there that seems like, you know, someone that's not like a, you know, journalist that's like totally renowned, like, on mainstream? Because I know there's some semi-mainstream alternative, alternative, mainstream, whatever podcasters that I've seen some of their content where they actually went down there and they, you know, retraced the steps and showed the whole area. But I want to talk to some people. I want to hear some people talk about the event, people that were there that were just randoms that maybe didn't even go to the event or just happened to notice that it was happening, or just hear some details from people like that, because I'm at the point where I'm just questioning whether it was even happening there that day. Probably they probably did the whole performance there that day, but I'm questioning even that, because I haven't at the point where the whole story just fallen apart completely. Like, I'm just left with, like, well, fucking do I even, it's just a TV show now at this point. It could have been anywhere, anytime, anybody. I have no idea. I don't know any of those people. TFE, yeah, it's the same story with TFE. It's like we're in the same situation we were in before. It's like, you can't fucking, dude, this trust me bro shit. I mean, that's not why we became flat earthers. It's like we just decided to stop trusting me, bro, And like, fucking, that's the situation we were in before. Is that all we had, the only fucking 24-hour sun and Antarctica footage that existed was like sketchy as fuck footage that was being provided by, Globers, or like people people with an agenda, basically. And so it's the same situation now. Whitsitt never provided any 24-hour footage, He's the only flat earther that would be able to do that at this point. But he hasn't. And so it's just been Dave McKeegan, of all people. He's the guy that fucking captured it. But he's a Glober with an agenda. I just, that's the thing, I mean, I still don't even, I don't know if there's a 24-hour sun down there. I still have a hard time accepting that reality. If it's true that there is, I mean, it doesn't make me think the Earth isn't flat, but I'm just saying, it's like, that's pretty interesting if there is, because I can't really explain that. I mean, it's like my understanding of the sky. Like, I would never do what Jaron did, which is just now join teams with the Globers. I don't think the Earth is shaped like a globe. I feel like I can prove that logically. But as far as the way the sky is functioning, I mean, that would really trip me out, because that, from what they were showing, if that was real, which I don't think it was what they showed, but if it was, I mean, the sun was making a small little circle around them. It's just like, how is the rest of the world getting its sun with the... I mean, I do understand that it's, perspective and all this kind of shit, but that was a pretty tight little circle, and the fact that the sky wasn't changing color at all during the whole thing, it's just, nothing about that looked real to me. I mean, I was trying to be cool. I mean, I was trying to accept it at first. I was thinking that they were being real and honest, but then, when people were starting to pick it apart, I was like, maybe people are right. Then I just started being a little more objective about it. Because I think I used to like Jaron and Whitsitt before TFE, but now I can't stand either one of those guys. I did used to like those guys. That's the thing. That was kind of like my big, like breaking up with those guys in my mind. Like, I used to support them, just, not financially, but just like I would get behind the things they say, and I, watch their shows and whatever. But like now I don't have it in me to be like, well, especially with Jaron, obviously, but like even Whitsitt, he just bugs me now. He just seems like he's just fake. Which sucks, because he used to be good entertainment for me, and I've learned a lot too from listening to him. But now I feel like his whole thing kind of has been just like, just deflated. And I could see how, if just at face value, if everything is exactly how they say it was, I mean, I could see how he'd be deflated from all that. That would be kind of a lame experience if it was all true. Going down there and being like the only flat earther, really, that's like, having to deal with everybody trying to tell him that, that he's a fucking stupid for thinking the Earth is flat. And all that. For me, like, I understand Jaron's argument, like, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's like, the sky, I still don't, I mean, I do understand you know, how the sky is, you know, we're pretty familiar with it and what it does, but like all the same, it's like here, I'm more comfortable with, because making the Earth a globe is like placing magic on the Earth. Like it's like now it's a magic thing that we can't. Because for me, there's nothing scientific about the Earth being a globe. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't check out logically. And so to do that, like if we have to do that because of what the sky is doing, I'm hesitant towards that. I'd much rather put the magic on the sky instead of the Earth, because I'm down here on the Earth and I can see there's nothing like magic like a globe Earth happening down here. It doesn't. It's not what's happening. Now, as far as how the sky is functioning, I don't know. I mean, I don't have access to the sky, really. It's just happening above me. So if there's something magic going on, like where it's like either Earth is a globe or the sky is doing some crazy shit, making it look like the Earth is a globe because there's two poles and circumpolar sky, you know, where it's like, I get that whole argument that it does make sense on one hand, but it's not, on the other hand, I know it's not true. I mean, I'm I'm firmly convinced that the globe is not reality. It's a very well put together, you know, model, but I can't even say how well it is if I haven't traveled the Earth, though. But, you know, if it's really like, that's a problem. It's not really like that, though. I mean, dude, we've had to wait this long. Why are we still even wondering if there's a 24-hour sun down there? That alone. It's like going to space. It's like one of these things that so few people get to see that it really is just kind of like a myth more than anything else. And that's not right. That screams flat Earth, in my opinion. If there's like this anomalous place on Earth, it's like the limit where you just can't go beyond. I mean, that's not what the globe. We shouldn't expect to see that on the globe model. Because everywhere else on Earth, there shouldn't be one place on Earth that's just all extreme where there's no life, and it's just. Antarctica is like the limit. It's like the edge. You know, we can't go beyond there because it's just not passable. The sun doesn't move on beyond that. I mean, that makes sense on the flat Earth to me. But like, and it's like this place that we've been forbid to go. You know, all countries of the world all got together and said, no, you're not going over here. It's like the limit. It makes more sense that it's circling the whole country, the whole world, instead of just some random spot down in the middle of the ocean. The way all the countries have behaved about, like, you know, kind of locking it down and have their bases all spread out. That makes more sense if that's like the perimeter that's surrounding the entire world, instead of it being just some random icy island out in the middle of the ocean. I can't see the whole world taking such interest in a place like that. In that case, you know, if it's the perimeter around the whole world, it's the border. Well, in that case, yeah, I could see how all the nations of the world got together and like, okay, we gotta we gotta work together here and like keep people the fuck out of here, you know. That's a lot more of a situation where you call all the nations of the world together and like have a sit down meeting and discuss serious matters and make a treaty and everything. It's like it's just some chunk of ice out in the middle of the ocean, you know, with a bunch of fucking where it's just like not habitable, and I'll be right there. But like, you know, I can't imagine all the countries of the world giving a fuck where they'd go and have these official like UN, you know, that doesn't make sense. You know, it's not like every country of the world would be interested in doing that. You know, we're gonna go like, you know, drill for ice samples and you wouldn't get worldwide unity on something like that. There might be some countries interested in doing that, but it's kind of like maybe not that interesting, you know. But like if it's the fucking perimeter around the whole world, you know, and we're like trying to keep society, you know, under this certain impression, this paradigm that we've trained everybody to believe, you know, it's like this is like the boundary. We've discovered that this is the boundary. We can't travel beyond here, or this is not happening. It's all, you know, whatever. Earth is flat. And I can see how the countries, all the fucking world leaders would have banded together and like, you know, to oppress us and keep us from knowing the truth. And that's something that they would all convene on and want to be part of and sign treaties that last forever and stay on good terms and just keep the whole fucking facade with their fucking warring parties, you know, all hating each other while they're busy holding hands on the perimeter, like, oh, it's all good over here, you know, and like, and so it's just, there's obviously something really shady, you know. It's not just a big chunk of ice floating around out in the ocean with a bunch of dead fucking nothing to do there, you know. Too cold to live there, and Why would you get all the countries of the world all fucking banded together and like make a big deal out of it? And it's like that's all it was. It's just stupid. That story doesn't make sense. But if it's the perimeter around the whole world, well, that makes fucking sense. Now it checks out. Totally checks out. That's why they're doing that. You know, now it's all clear as day. Well, that's why it's a military. You can't go there unless you have like a really, you know, specific guided tour and shit. It's just like, you know, you not really, like you should want to go there. It's like, it doesn't support life there. It's just like the perimeter, the edge, the fucking boundary. Not the edge, but you don't go beyond there. It's, you know, I'm under the impression that that's just like ice land out there. You know, there's no sun. The sun will go there eventually. It's on its course. It's cycles, you know, whatever is happening. I kind of subscribe to that model more than I do. But that's the thing. With the 24-hour sun, I don't think we have one down there. Really, it's starting to seem like that more. Although there's other things that factor in. I can't forget the fact that there's like places down south, like Punta Arenas, it gets 17 and a half hours of sun, direct sun all day in December. That's a long day, you know. I mean, what is the sun moving slower? Well, I thought it moved faster when it was in the south. What's going on? Like, how is it having that many hours of sun directly? I mean, there's some weird shit going on down there, that's all I know. And you know that if you were to go further north from there, the days get shorter until you're up here and it's our winter, you know. So it's like, and so if you go further south from there, the days get longer. We're talking 17 and a half hours of sun in the sky, you know, in Punta Arenas in December. So it's like, you get the point. Like, you go further south from there, you can go further south from there and out or whatever, and it's like, so the days get longer, even longer, you know, so working towards like 20 hours probably by the time you get to Antarctica. So, you know, we do have good reason to believe that there is a 24-hour sun there, but as far as how to explain it, it's just what happens. I mean, it's like the sun's doing a loop like it does up there. It's like, it doesn't have to be because we're on a ball. I don't know, it just is what it is, but there's too many problems with the heliocentric model. For one, gravity's not a thing. Can't be measured, it's not real. Gravity's a push, not a pull. They got it completely backwards. I gotta go get the kid in bed and shit, or get him out of our bed, I mean. Alright, you guys. Good night.